So this is a before the X pipe sound clip of the idle with the BTR stage 2 cam. This is still with the H pipe in there. So we'll get the X pipe swapped into it sometime in the next week and we'll see how much different it sounds. We're hoping to try and get rid of that kind of fluttery noise that it makes in this particular exhaust. Don't really care for that noise, so we'll see what we can do with it. Well, here we are with Project Free X pipe underway. This is my mid pipe that I had set up before. It's obviously the stock H pipe, and then you can see where I had adapted it to fit onto the Texas Speed long tubes. And the Magna packs that are stuck in there, 14 inchers, I stuck those in there in an attempt to try and get the car quieted down a little bit after putting the long tubes on. It was pretty loud. This actually tamed it down to what I thought was the almost perfect sound level. Nice compromise between just putting around and hammering on it. But after doing the cam swap, we decided that we don't like the H pipe no more. I normally don't ever have a preference between an H pipe and an X pipe, but in this particular combo it doesn't sound good at all, especially at idle. So we're going to make some attempts to alter the sound a little bit and hopefully not get it any louder. I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's a couple of little Flowmaster spun catalytic converters that I'm going to put in there, and hopefully that'll both knock the smell down from the overlap in the cam and also maybe do the similar amount of noise reduction as those Magna packs were doing. But I got a couple of pieces of tube here cut up, and I'm gonna kind of monkey the new combo together, and then we'll take a look at that before it goes underneath the car. Okay, so we'll kind of mock this X pipe up real quick. I ended up buying the tube, or a pair of the Flowmaster, I think they're the 200 cell spun cats. They're like 55 bucks a piece, something like that. Then I got a pair of perfect adapters to get down from the 3-inch cats to the 2.5-inch tubing. I was actually able to find some stainless adapters that were 3-inch OD, which obviously fits inside the cat, and then the other end has 2.5-inch ID, which is perfect. And then I don't know how Amazonians does it, but I was able to get a 4-foot stick of stainless steel 2.5-inch tubing for like $27 shipped. That's crazy to me. I know, kind of monkeying around with exhaust systems over the last 20 years, trying to buy a piece of stainless exhaust tubing that was long and get it shipped to your house, it just wasn't worth it. It was crazy expensive. I already chopped that up a little bit. Got a couple of pieces here. Here's the cats. They're supposed to maintain reasonably high flow. I'm not too concerned about any power loss. I don't know. It would probably be single digits. And here's those adapters. And they fit in there. Just enough wiggle room that you're not fighting it, which you don't want to fight exhaust stuff when you're trying to put it together. It's horribly annoying. So I kind of pre-measured all this stuff. Let's see if I can jam some of this together. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but that's pretty much the basics of it. Obviously, it'll have to be fine-tuned a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and get that whole thing stuck up underneath the car, and I'll get it all tacked together. The only thing that'll have clamps on it will be at the collectors. The joys of slip bits, but they work okay if you set them up well enough. The whole rest of the system I'll weld up though. I don't want any more clamps in there. And I think it'll be a really nice piece when it's said and done. But I'll get it all tacked up and welded up, and then we'll take a look at it once it's installed in the car. Well, we've hit our first adversity hurdle already. Didn't take very long. Wouldn't be proper if you're doing any kind of project and you run into snags and have to make a store run. Appears the Bassani X pipe does not have threaded flanges, which isn't all that uncommon. It's a pain in the ass because out of the 5 gallons of loose hardware that I have laying around the garage, I didn't have anything that would fit in there, and I got tired of digging, so to the store we went. Some decent flanged Dorman hardware. I think this will get the job done just splendidly. Should be just good length. Get this thing stuck up in there. That was a good excuse to get some Breakfast of Champions. I'll let you all guess what that was. Well, I busted out the old Lincoln and burned the new X pipe together. She's all glued together. Oh, I better turn down the old radio a little bit. Courtesy of Bad Luck Garage. Anyways, turned out pretty good. Only blew 2 holes in it until I got the settings right. It's pretty much how I do things as substandard as possible, but she turned out okay. It ain't gonna fall off of there, I'll guarantee you that. So get her cooled off a little bit and get this guy bolted back up in there, and we'll go from there. Well, here's midpipe part 3 reassembled. Was able to get it back in there by myself this time. My back's not too happy with me, but it's done anyways. So in this rendition of midpipe, you've already seen most of it anyways. We're now catted and X-piped. So it turned out pretty good. I have no idea how it sounds yet. That'll be coming up here shortly. But it's going to be pretty cool, I hope, to have Cats back on the car. And for the money, I think it turned out really good. I think the Texas Speed pre-made X-pipe and Cat assembly is somewhere around $700 or something like that. I don't even know if that includes shipping. This guy, well, I know I got the X-pipe for free, but even if I bought the X pipe, I would probably be into it for, let's say, 200 bucks for the X pipe, and what would it be, 120 for the cats, and 30 bucks for the pipe, the straight pipe, 10 bucks for the adapters. So about $360 or so. Yeah, my hamster wheel was turning. I'm not real good at quick math in my head, but yeah, so, well, and a bunch of my labor too, but I end up with 360 bucks into it, and it fits really, really good. I've heard that Extra Speed one has a tendency to rattle on the tunnel, or the frame anyways, and that's no good. Nobody likes that. This has lots of room everywhere. So I couldn't be happier. Hopefully we'll get to hear it in just a little bit. Oh, I was also going to say, because I always have small little random things pop into my head, if you're dealing with slip fit collectors and you're adapting stuff together onto your slip fit collectors, and you're going to use those stainless clamps to clamp the thing down there, you need to cut at least a couple of slits in the tubing that's going to be clamped. So in this case, it was the inlets to the cats. I cut slits in there with a die grinder that are the width of the clamp, 180 degrees apart, so that way when you torque the clamp, I know a lot of you guys know this already, but somebody might be learning or trying to gather ideas. If you don't cut those slits in there and you try and clamp it down, it won't clamp down onto the header collector, and that could prove to be problematic in the future. You can have your exhaust fall off, so you don't want that. So up next will be little sound bites, and we'll go from there. So here's a fully warmed up idle with the BTR Stage 2 NA cam. Sounds really good. I'm extremely happy with the way the exhaust turned out. The flutter, I think, is completely gone with this X pipe. And the cats, well worth it. I'm glad I did it. You can actually put your nose in front of the tailpipes and not burn your eyeballs out. Your nose doesn't burn. So that was a good call. I'll add this to the video string of actually building the X pipe. Maybe in the sun you can actually see how not perfect this paint job is, but she'll clean up. It is winter time still.